Okay, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're here to talk about safety. Now, how many of you, let's just get an idea of who's in the room, are considered producers themselves? How about like location managers or other aspects? Okay, cool. Very important. I mean, you're going to find that location manager is key to a lot of the set safety that we're going to be talking about here. So it's great to have you all. How many of you have been on sets where there was an accident or you were involved in an accident? Show of stubs, I suppose, if you don't have. Yeah. How many have been on a set, you thought, hey, this is kind of unsafe, but what do I do? Or maybe didn't bring it up. Okay, there you go. How many had the gumption to say, hey, this is unsafe, I need to do something? Not every, okay, show of stubs again for those that, okay. Well, safety is not a new concept by any means. A lot of people think it is, coming of late, but actually OSHA has been around since 1971, setting standards for safety amongst all industries and our industry in particular. Because of the nature of the work that we do on a temporary basis on a location, it can be even more unsafe. So we have to think about all the things that could possibly go wrong. How many know my good friend Mr. Murphy, who says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong and has gone wrong? So that's the one we want to really be concerned about. So you got to take all this stuff into consideration. And sorry, I don't move much. I just had a new knee put in because I wasn't safe, so I like stand a lot, but we'll try and make this work. So anyway, as the slide says, what does it mean to be safe? Well, obviously we would all think that running across a set with a running chainsaw would be unsafe. Would that be a safe assumption? Having done that myself, yes. But it's not just that. It's the obvious stuff and the not quite so obvious stuff, you know, as far as cables and, hey, are those sprinklers going to come on and make a slip and fall situation, or all the things you have to think about to try and keep your set as safe as possible. One, we don't want anybody getting hurt, correct? How many like to see people get hurt? Okay, thank you, Melissa. I'm dying up here myself. So, but we want to make sure everybody's safe, that they all go home at night, you know, to their families or someone's families. And so we want to make a safe set, designate who's going to be sort of in charge, be it a first AD, UPM, somebody like that, who's going to be the point person, safety person on set. We need to know in case there's an evacuation, if there's a fire in a building or a farmhouse or out in the forest that we're at, where is our meetup point or evacuation point? Make sure everybody gets there and can be accounted for, so we're not sending in somebody looking for an errant grip or PA. Well, PAs are expendable. So, so we just want to know, you know, everything that we can know about it. Who are going to be the first responders? Is it going to be paramedics? Is it going to be fire people? Who that's going to be. So, and then brings me to my next one. Oh, isn't that lovely? More stuff to be said. So let me ask some more things here. How many of you are doing non-fiction work versus scripted work? Let's say non-fiction work. Okay. And how about scripted and features and TV and all of that? Oh, wow. Okay. How many can hire a cameraman when he's not doing this stuff up here? Okay. Evidently no one. So, so everybody has to think about this. And of course, we know the big budget shows always have that in the forefront of their mind, but even the small ones, the reality shows and things like that, where you have a 4 or 5 person crew, they also have to think about all of these things. So if you fall into that category, you've got an even bigger task to think, hey, this is what I got to deal with here, okay? I suck at this. Too many things. Okay. So one of the first things to establish our safety on the set is our safety meeting, to determine what if there is an emergency, who are we going to call, what are we going to do, where are we going to meet, who's going to be in charge. Again, is it a first AD, is it a UPM? It might be an other designated person for safety in a particular instance, a stunt coordinator or a special effects coordinator, where we're going to meet up, and then again, who we're going to contact first. And why did I leave that over there? God, what a freaking idiot. Forgive me, I'm new at this. So to talk about some of the stuff we're going to do, I'm going to turn this over to Ken Jorgensen because he'll do a far better job.
I don't know about a far better job here.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I'll give you that.
Hello, everybody.
it wasn't going to start out this way, but when Vance started about collaboration, and part of what's going on today is all about collaboration, because while this is a group here of producers, you have a whole crew that you need to collaborate with. There's an awful lot of people that are going to be part of how you do this job. When I decided to get into this industry, it was because I didn't want to be a marine biologist counting the number of worms at the bottom of Santa Monica Bay. And I saw Apocalypse Now, so Francis Coppola was my inspiration for doing this, and I was fortunate enough to work on Dracula. As a dolly grip, I was sitting there, and Francis likes to sit in an apple box next to the camera. And so I got a graduate level movie class from Francis Coppola for 3 months working on this movie. But the thing that impressed me about Coppola is the first call sheet, on the back of the call sheet was a memo. And that memo said that Francis believes that the movie making was a collaborative effort, and that if you have some idea on how to make this movie better, this is how to get a note to Francis. Now, whether he threw those notes away, never looked at them, it was still a way to get everybody together. He had hired people as experts to do things. There were people there to do the job, and we all did the job, okay? And he was very open to listen to suggestions. There was things, as good a filmmaker as you may or may not think he is, he certainly has those little gold statues that attest to how qualified he is. He was open to the entire crew being part of what was going on. And we're going to have a lot of redundancy in this class today, and you're going to see things like that. You're going to hear that kind of stuff because you can't know all that's going on. Vance brought up all the stuff that you're going to start hearing. You're going to hear an awful lot of things from the people up here, and there's no way to know all of it. But your job as the producer is to be able to filter out the good stuff, make good, common sense, reasonable choices to then have a safe set, to have a safe production, to have an efficient production, okay? So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're going to be doing. So why is safety important? We're going to go through. This is just, a lot of this is training. Vance brought up moving around is to try to keep you from going to sleep so that you're moving your head back and forth. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this. But part of this stuff is to let you know what we're going to do, so that way you're anticipating what we're going to be talking about. So why is it important? Having a plan. I'm a big proponent of having a plan. You've got to think about this stuff ahead of time, all right? What's the producer's part on the safety team? So one of the handouts you got is the handout about from the PGA about parts. Hazards and situations, okay? High hazard departments, what we're going to deal with those, and local resources. Also, we want you to ask questions. This is a room full of adults. There's a Oriental Asian philosophy about training is that the student isn't ready to hear information unless they can ask the question. So questions are good things. Asking a question is a very good thing. So if you have questions, please ask. Any questions so far? You guys are easy. All right. They're not ready yet. All right. So the first thing about safety, why is it important? None of us want to hurt anybody, okay? I've been doing this for a long time. I've been teaching classes at Local 80 for 20 years. I've been the head of safety for the IA for 10 years. Teach classes all the time, all right? How many in this room, by a show of hands, have ever made a movie that's worth dying over? Because that's what we're talking about. In my office, I have a book that was given me by Vice President of Safety from Warner Brothers, and it talks about what target risk, what makes any safety, any human endeavor safer. And one of the things, you have to have a proper appreciation for how dangerous it is. If you don't believe it's dangerous, you won't treat it with respect. What we do kills people. So you have to be aware of that, okay? Now, we also do it very well for a long time and not hurt anybody at all. And that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. So we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to hurt anybody. Second thing is we want to follow the law, all right? Now, most of us think, what's the law that we're worried about? What law are you worried about following? Well, all of them, yes, but what for safety, what are we usually thinking about? OSHA. Who said OSHA? Swag. Swag. Here we go. Swag. Okay? So OSHA is the normal law we want to, that's what we're worried about. All right? And the thing about OSHA is that OSHA really isn't out there looking to, like a police officer, that you're breaking the law, okay? What they're hoping is to help people, employers, to follow the law. We actually have an OSHA consultation officer here today, and that's their job. So Jenny? Okay. And OSHA consultation's job, and she's going to we'll speak a little bit more about Jenny, but their job is to help, okay? OSHA isn't coming trying to find people. They want to help because most employers don't know what the rules are. And I'm not just talking about our industry. Most employers don't know the rules, okay? So we want to be able to do that. But we also have the EPA. We have local fire laws. We have health and safety, or we have health laws from the health department. There's all kinds of different things you have to be able to know. And they're out there for the protection of all of us. One thing about OSHA, anybody know which president wrote OSHA into law? Nixon. Okay, another, gotta give the swag out. And the reason I bring that up is, especially in the political climate we're in now, we don't have a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of opposing sides, people fighting with each other, but OSHA was written into law by a Democratic Congress, but signed into law by a Republican president, okay? And it's because it's good, because it goes to the second part, we want to hold down costs. Now, a lot of times when I do this, we talk about liability, and liability is a goofy thing that we don't need to get into here, but there are evidence that doing safety and providing safety makes it more efficient and makes it cheaper for production. The problem is with this, how can you prove that what you do today protects somebody Monday? That you avoided an accident because of this class? There's no way to do it without long-term data, okay? And one of the studios told me I could put out this stat, is when Universal was taken over by CBS, or excuse me, by GE used their safety stuff that they use for their Defense Department, for their all their other businesses, and they applied it to the studio. And immediately their fright wigs went off, but they started to look at it and they started doing data. And they could track shows' accident rates, and because of the Safety Pass program that was going on in Hollywood, that they can show that a show, or they could tell if a show's an LA-based crew, they have 40% fewer accidents, okay? So it's proven that doing safety is gonna make it less expensive. The University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business, okay? So high-end, worldwide, world-recognized business school, fully a quarter of their curriculum is about insurance. And they're trying to figure out how to reduce the risk management part of it. And what they looked at is for every dollar spent on safety, for a business that has the kind of hazards we do, you can save as much as $70 by avoiding the accident. So you spend $1 on safety, you avoid $70 worth of cost because of the accident. Somebody falls down, breaks a leg, and you have to have the ambulance come in to the set, okay? Takes an hour for that to happen. What's the cost of production to have to stop shooting for that hour? Okay? That's what we're talking about. A lot of times we always talk about big deals, death and destruction. It's not always about death and destruction. It's about smaller things too. Smaller things that are going on, right? Any questions so far? Yes, sir. Oh.
I just want to interject. And also, we work in an industry where it's highly specialized, highly creative, and if you lose a certain person on set to even a minor injury, it could be catastrophic, and you're going to lose days or months or longer. So it's a heightened interest or reason to be safe. Did you want to do the safety meeting? The sort of
yeah. Did we miss the safety meeting? Oh, I did? Where did I miss it? Oh, okay. We'll do that. Do that in a second. So, thank you. So doing this is figuring out that, and going back to one of the things that Matt said is, I'm loud like Vance, I'm not used to having the microphone. Figuring out, if you're not familiar with green bed systems, so it's a suspended scaffold system used in sound stages. Quite often they have gaps in it where nails can fall through, and they're usually supposed to have some kind of grating or something to keep it from going through for nails and things like that. A green bed above the craft service table, and your star or anybody who is in intense makeup is getting coffee, and a nail hits and doesn't even hurt them, destroys the makeup that they have to go back in for 3 hours worth of makeup repair. Maybe having that screen under the green beds is an important thing, okay? So all of this stuff has, number one, we don't want to hurt anybody. Don't want to see anybody go home. We're not making movies that anybody wants to die over, let bleed over. We are the court jesters of this kingdom, okay? So that's what we're doing most. Second, we want to follow the law. Third is it saves us money. And the fourth is it's the right thing to do, okay? The right thing to do.